During our Farm Basics time today, we want to talk a little about spreading residue behind the combine. Now, if you're a non-farmer, you say, all right, you're going through with this combine and there's just residue that's coming out the back end. It's really no big deal. But for us as farmers, this is incredibly important. If that residue isn't spread properly, we've got a major problem next year.
All right, if you started with a black, clean tilled field and everything is even, well, you think about it, seed depth, no problem. You're going to get it at the same depth all the way through the field. And then for crop emergence, all the seed has to do is push up through an inch or two of soil. No big deal. Everything's fine. But when you've got residue spread unevenly throughout the field, some seeds have no residue to push through and they pop right out of the ground. Others may have a couple of inches or more of residue to push through, and it may just take more time for that soil to warm up and seed to pop through.
Well, I think Darren mentioned a key thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's how warm or cold that soil is. The more residue there is on top of that ground, quite often we're looking at many more days to reach the ideal temperature in that soil in the spring. So if there's ground that got almost no residue when that combine was going through and it spread the residue unevenly, and there are spots where there's almost no residue there, that soil is going to warm up faster in the spring. Where all the residue is, it's going to warm up a lot slower. So what that means is you're going to have different levels of emergence in the spring, and that can be a real problem for yield.
Well, on our farm, when we started planting corn this year, it was 7 degrees difference where we had deep residue versus where it was black. So like in a strip till situation where it's black for a strip and then residue to the side, this would be a very similar situation to what many farmers are facing in just whole fields where residue is spread unevenly. If there's a big windrow right behind the combine and then there's nothing once you get out a little bit further, 7 degrees difference in temperature. Well, that's a huge, huge thing in the spring because most farmers are looking at, wow, I'm targeting 50-degree soil temp and 43 degrees versus 50, big difference.
Even if the farmer is going to do tillage afterwards, which does spread the residue out certainly, he's going to have a difficult time getting through big piles of residue, and in other areas of the field, the ground's going to be really black because there was no residue. So as a farmer, it's important to spread the residue out evenly. As a non-farmer, when you're driving past the fields this fall, you can just kind of look out through the field as the farmer is going along with his combine and see if that residue is spread evenly or not. If it's not, you know that, hey, that farmer is going to be wishing later on at some point he would have spread that residue evenly across the field.
One other thing you'll see at varying densities across the field is weed pressure. If you have our Weed of the Week, you need to get it stopped. We'll show you how to do that coming up later in the show.